Ambassador Fabian, President Biden has announced that American troops will withdraw from Afghanistan. Is that the right decision?
Thank you for the question. It is the right decision, but whether it has been announced in the right way, I will answer later. It is the right decision because continued presence of the American troops, not only American, there are NATO forces there, is not making any difference to what is happening in Afghanistan. The primary mission of these forces has been for a number of years is to keep themselves safe. They have not been engaged in any operations. Of course, they have been giving some advice and training to Afghan forces, but for giving advice and training, you do not need thousands of troops. But to understand what is happening, we have to go back in time. We have to go back at least as far as 1979, when December 1979, when Soviet troops invaded Afghanistan, of course, on the request of the Afghan government, which felt threatened by the rebellion which was growing in Afghanistan. What is not understood by many of us is that it was Brzezinski, National Security Advisor to President Carter, Brzezinski, who was born in Poland, who wanted to get the Soviet military entangled in Afghanistan so that Poland and other countries in Eastern Europe can think of liberating themselves from Soviet Union's domination. What he did was, Brzezinski, with Carter's approval, he sent in special forces from the United States to operate in Afghanistan sometime in 1979, and these special forces fomented rebellion in many parts of Afghanistan, and the government in Kabul, not aware of the presence and operations of these special forces, imagined that it was under threat from the growing rebellion and asked Moscow for military assistance. Brezhnev, without wider consultations, sent in the forces, and that was a big disaster. And can you imagine? Christmas Eve, 1979, Brzezinski sends a congratulatory message to President Carter. You have done it. We have given them their Vietnam. Meaning, Vietnam is where America experienced its first major military defeat. Even after sending hundreds of thousands of troops, and for so many years, America had to surrender. Do you remember in October 1975, the American ambassador in Saigon, he collected the American flag in the embassy, which was, hoisted there. And from the rooftop of the embassy, he left in a helicopter. That was the American withdrawal from Vietnam. So, that is what Brzezinski was referring to. Then what happened? Brzezinski arranged for the jihadists from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, and from many other Muslim countries. One of the prominent leaders was Osama bin Laden, a darling of the CIA. Well, under the wise leadership of Gorbachev, USSR decided to withdraw from Afghanistan. But then Osama bin Laden did not tolerate American military presence in the Holy Land, which is Saudi Arabia, with Mecca and Medina being there. Well, 9/11 followed. Now, Americans say that Osama bin Laden masterminded it. We do not know, but we do know that he claimed the credit for it. Because don't forget, none of the hijackers were from Afghanistan. They were mainly Saudi Arabians and some Egyptians too. So, President George Bush asked the government in Kabul, which was incidentally the Taliban government, and that happened because after the Soviets withdrew, America lost interest in Afghanistan, and Taliban was able to form the government, well, around 1996 or so, and Osama bin Laden was there. So Bush wanted the government in Kabul to surrender Osama bin Laden. The government responded, let us talk about it. But Bush did not want to talk about it. He wanted war. He bombed Afghanistan. Well, the Taliban government, of course, fell. America occupied Afghanistan. An obliging Security Council passed a resolution taking UN responsibility for building democracy in Afghanistan. Well, they have been doing it for so long. Now they have realized that they cannot do it. Incidentally, Obama, who came after Bush, said that Afghanistan was the correct war. Obama had, opposed the war on Iraq. But he said Afghanistan was a correct war and he increased military presence there. But before he ended his term, Obama had started negotiations with Taliban, which had opened an office in Qatar. Well, negotiations went on, and under President Trump, it was agreed that American forces would withdraw. Taliban will not permit any attack on America from Afghan soil, and that there will be power sharing between Taliban and the Afghanistan government. Trump could not complete the withdrawal as he wanted. He was supposed to do it by May 2020, and then initially, Biden wanted to review it, but now he has announced that he is going to do it. But I personally think the way he has announced that it should be completed by 9/11, 2021 is not very smart, because 9/11 is associated with an attack on the United States which killed more than 3,000 Americans. That's point number one. But point number two is more important. Antony Blinken, I had high expectations of his professional expertise, but I feel I have been, I've been disappointed, because he wrote a letter to the Afghan president saying that America is going to withdraw. It is your job to come to a settlement with the Taliban. It is not diplomatically correct for a Secretary of State, that is a foreign minister, to write to the president of another country. Now that shows arrogance, but you know something? Arrogance and ignorance go together. In fact, it was arrogance and ignorance that made George Bush invade Afghanistan. So the withdrawal also has been announced in a manner which combines arrogance and ignorance. But basically the decision is correct. Thank you.